It's now Monday, November 20, a little after almost 6:30. You may not see much in this camera because I've now set it up so that it will actually show the screen on the TFT monitor as relatively flat. I've had some success with it in experimentation. We do have a half moon. We are, that's not too bad. Can you come to focus, baby? You're still a little bright. Oh, you can see the Terminator up there anyway. A little earlier I did a little bit of a tour of the moon. I may post that up so folks can practice their selenography. We also have a Jupiter, now some 35 degrees above the horizon, which means it is past culmination. The sunset about 4:20 this afternoon. I'm going to run through the NGC1-49 series. I did it last night, but we had high thin clouds that were masking things. I'm going to run it again just in case I get some decent views of virtually all of them will be galaxies this evening. Sunday night, October the 19th, it's about 7:15 in the evening. We're having a look at Messier 110. It looks actually quite good given the fact that there's now a 6-day in the sky. There's also some high thin clouds, some of which are visible drifting overhead. I am going to go ahead and see what we can come up with in terms of the NGC series, beginning with NGC1. This is actually a pretty good view of Messier 110. The only variable that exists right now is whether I'm going to have to be peering through high thin clouds, especially as I drift south to lower declinations. Let's see if we can line this baby up with Messier 1 and other studies afterwards without getting much of a block in terms of the neutrons. Once again, it's 7:15. Let's give it a run. Here we'll be seeing NGC1, a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12.9, 1.7 by 1.2 arc minutes, 202 million light-year distance, spiral with a lowercase b. We are at plus 28 degrees. We're not getting any obstruction. However, we are having to deal with a 6-day moon. So it should be an interesting comparison later on. I am seeing a galaxy right about there in the field. It's not very impressive, however. But this is a smallish 13th, almost 13th magnitude galaxy, NGC1. NGC2 is nary a click away, another galaxy in Pegasus, fainter, magnitude 14.2, 1 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral lowercase ab, 337 million light years distant, and almost once again, 28 degrees. We're at about 7 minutes of right ascension as we begin the NGC catalog from the beginning as part of our Sky Quest series. I am seeing a fainter galaxy there. I will have to map it out later on to determine which is which, but if we are seeing a 14th magnitude galaxy, it is promising. NGC3 is a galaxy a little further south in Pisces, although it's still at plus 8 degrees declination. Magnitude 13.3, 1.1 by 0.6 arc minute, lenticular spiral class O, 174 million light years distant, puts it at about 60,000 light years in diameter. And I do believe we are seeing a galaxy right at that point. Promising so far, although I think there are high thin icy clouds up there. NGC4 is a galaxy in Pisces. This is a serious test. Magnitude 16.6 by 0.3 arc minute size, lenticular spiral, 226 million light years distance at plus 8 and 22. The scope didn't really move that far. I'm going to press the button again just to see if it didn't move at all. Nope, it did jump. NGC5 is a galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.3, 1.2 by 0.7 arc minute. Oblitely presented elliptical. So that would basically be the shape of the elliptical, since it is an elliptical, football shaped, 227 million light years distant. This one's at plus 35 and almost a half. I could be getting a very small amount of blockage, but that's very minimal at this this point. The galaxy is quite present right there on the screen. NGC6 is another galaxy in Andromeda. It's also NGC20. Magnitude 13, 1.7 by 1.6. Pretty much face-on lenticular spiral. 222 million light years distant. Probably puts this one a little larger than our Milky Way galaxy, maybe about 110,000 light years in diameter. It is at plus 33 and change in terms of its declination, and it's right in alignment with these stars right there. Don't expect to see much here. There's slight thin clouds to the south. Wow, looks like it's actually rounding up a little bit. This is NGC7 is a galaxy in Sculptor. The Sculptor's Studio, magnitude 13.9, but a decently edge-on galaxy at 2.2 by 0.5 arc minutes, 72 million light years distant spiral with a bar and a lowercase c. It's at minus 30 degrees. I am surprised we're seeing anything through these clouds that are quite apparently visible to my eye down south. Quite astonishing, actually. Maybe it helps having the deep sky filter there. You can see the clouds rolling over now. There it goes. NGC9 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.6, 1.1 by 0.7 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase b and a p, which usually means peculiarities. 202 million light years distant, plus 24 degrees. I am seeing a bit of a galaxy right in the expected location on the screen. Still not impressive for 13.6 magnitude. I may have to bail this evening, but it does make sense to at least get an idea of how much the moon and variable weather conditions can impact viewing. Fortunately, overhead the sky is in better shape than it is. It's almost like there's a hole in the sky, in the middle third of the sky. Let's see what we can do if we push on a little bit. Dropping back down to the Sculptor, you can tell we had some clouds. Maybe dissipating a little bit here. NGC10 is a galaxy in Sculptor, magnitude 12.5. We'd usually be able to pick that out if we had a decent night in the moon. It's 2.4 by 1.2 arc minutes. 305 million light years distant, makes this about a 220,000 light year diameter galaxy, significantly larger than Messier 31. It's at minus almost 34 degrees. I don't expect to see anything of it, but at least we have a notion of it. Once again, if we don't get through anything because of the weather, it'll be interesting to compare some of these images to when I am able to get a decent night of viewing of the NGC1-49 series. Okay, we're definitely getting some blockage in the part of the roof tries on this galaxy. NGC11 is a galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.7, 1.5 by 0.3 arc minutes. Nice presentation. From the edge on 195 million light years distant, plus 37.5 degrees. We are seeing stars. There is a bit of a faint edge on right there. I'm quite surprised. We're losing probably 40% of the aperture of the scope, however. Drop down into Pisces, but we're still above the celestial equator. NGC12 galaxy, magnitude 13.1, pretty much face on 1.6 by 1.5 arc minutes. A spiral with a bar, so you can look for some distension around the middle of the core. 175 million light years distant, plus 4.5 degrees in declination. Seems to be quite apparent right there. Here we have NGC13. We're also pretty much getting some obstruction in the lens of the roof try. NGC13 is a galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.2, although it's got a nice presentation, 2.3 by 0.6 arc minutes. A spiral with a lowercase ab. 220 million light years distant, puts it at about the size of Messier 31, 150,000 light years across. We're at plus 33 and almost a half degrees. In terms of declination, the galaxy is quite visible. NGC14 is a galaxy in Pegasus, brightish, magnitude 12.1, 2.8 by 2.1 arc minutes. It's an irregular galaxy with peculiarities. Close, 39 million light years distant. This is an immature galaxy, basically. It's at plus almost 16 degrees, and we can expect, oh, the galaxy is quite visible on the screen. It's nice to see. This baby has a lot of growing to do. It'd be interesting to determine what its intrinsic brightness is relative to Messier 31 as a standard. If you shrunk 31 to this size and this distance, how bright would it be? Probably somewhere, I would say, around magnitude 8.5 as a guess. But there's our view, not too bad. NGC15, another galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.8, 1 by 0.6 arc minute. Excuse me, it's chilly out. Spiral with a lowercase a, 286 million light years distant. Basically puts it probably about 75,000 light years in diameter. We are at plus 21.5 degrees. We are getting the full aperture of the scope, and you can see the galaxy right there. This is a brightish elliptical galaxy here. NGC16 is a good part of the sky galaxy in Pegasus. Magnitude 12, 1.8 by 1 arc minute. It is described as an E3, and EO would be perfectly circular. E3 is distant. 140 million light years distant. It's at plus 27, almost 28 degrees. We're probably just getting close to having some aperture block. I would point out that this galaxy is probably a little smaller, maybe 80 to 90,000 light years in diameter, but it is intensely bright. Yes, indeed, I do believe the stars look a little bit better. We're at NGC16 now, galaxy in Pegasus. Fairly bright, probably the brightest of the evening. Magnitude 12, 1.8 by 1 arc minute. It's an elliptical class 3, which means somewhat football-shaped. 140 million light years distant, and it's at plus 27, almost 28 degrees. I do like the way the stars are looking a little bit better. It's weird, though. This elliptical seems to have faint extensions outside the core. Another candidate for either myself or viewers to go to the digitized sky survey on the skylive.com to have a look at it. I do believe this will be our first galaxy in Cetus of the evening. This is NGC17, and if you double that, you get NGC34. Both are the same galaxy. As you can hear, we have a medevac chopper coming in to the local Blue Mountain Hospital. So we'll just have to tolerate it. Let's see if it comes across the screen. We're pretty close, but it did not fly in front of the objective, although you can see its red lights. So, data on NGC17, galaxy in Cetus, also NGC34, magnitude 13.8. Kind of edgy on, 2.1 by 0.8 arc minute spiral, 241 million light years distant, puts it about the size of Messier 31. It's at minus 12 degrees in declination. Here we have NGC19, galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 14.1, 1.1 by 0.6 arc minute. Spiral with a bar, excuse me, lowercase bc in a ring. Rings are typically 4.5 magnitudes fainter. We aren't going to get any sense of that. Maybe if I had the REV II set up to maximum ability to capture light, we might get hints of it. The galaxy NGC19 is at plus almost 33 degrees in declination, 223 million light years distant. So probably about 80,000 light years in diameter. Seen this galaxy before, it's also NGC6. This is NGC20, magnitude 13. Pretty much face-on, spiral, lenticular, 220 million light years distant, 22 million light years distant. It'll be interesting to compare the two views because the last view we had of it was a little bit out of focus on the stars, and it was about a half an hour ago. NGC21 is a galaxy in Andromeda. It wasn't too far from 20, frankly. It's also NGC29. It's magnitude 12.7, 1.5 by 0.7 arc minutes, a nice 2-to-1 ratio. Spiral with a bar, lowercase bc. 215 million light years distant. That puts it a little bit smaller than our our Milky Way galaxy. It's at plus 33 and almost a half degree. You can see it right there on the screen. Well, I'm happy to have gotten started when I did. We probably got about another 15 minutes before we start getting aperture masking on these further north galaxies. This is NGC22, galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.6, 1.7 by 1.3, football-shaped spiral with a lowercase b, 371 million light years distant, puts it maybe just a wee bit smaller than Messier 31, our galactic standard, and I think you can make out the galaxy quite obviously on the screen. NGC23 is a rather brightish galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 12, 2.5 by 1.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase e, 206 million light years distant. I'd say this is about the size of the Andromeda galaxy. It's at plus almost 26 degrees, and we've only progressed by about 2 minutes in terms of right ascension. Here we have a deep south galaxy, NGC24 in Sculptor. Magnitude 11.6, largest 6.1 by 1.4, a mere 26 million light years distant. Baby's a dwarf. It's at minus 20, almost 25 degrees. I do believe for those our southern astro confreres, this would be quite a galaxy to look up. 6.1 by 1.4, magnitude 11.6. We're not getting much of a view. I do believe there's some faintness in there. That's probably our deep sky buddy. NGC27 is a galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.4, 1.2 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b, 317 million light years distant, puts it about the size of our own Milky Way. We're at plus 29 degrees, and I think I left the camera running while we navigated. It'll be interesting to have a look at that. NGC29 was also NGC21, magnitude 12.7, 1.5 by 0.7 galaxy in Andromeda. No further data. I just want to compare the images. We've dropped down into Cetus, minus 12 degrees. NGC34 was also a duplicate of NGC17, magnitude 13.8, 2.1 by 0.8 arc minutes, spiral, 241 million light years distant, about the size, maybe a little larger than the great Andromeda galaxy. It'd be also interesting to compare these two views as well. A couple of clicks away from NGC34 is NGC35, another galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14.7 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b, 266 million light years distant, probably puts it at about 60,000 light years in diameter. It's at minus 12 degrees as well. Back north, we're now at NGC36, a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.1, 2.2 by 1.4 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase b, 272 million light years distant, plus 6 and almost a half degrees. We are certainly running into a lot of Andromeda-sized galaxies in this NGC1-49 series. NGC38 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.5, nearly face-all, 1.4 by 1.3 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, 359 million light years distant, probably about 130,000 light years in diameter, but pretty close to Messier 31. It's at minus 5.5 degrees in declination, and we are seeing some distortion of the image, possibly due to high thin clouds illuminated by the moon. Not pleasant, but do have to accept the realities that the sky is king. Boy, not seeing very much here. We're not getting any aperture block. High thin clouds maybe. I'm not seeing much in the way of stars, although I can see the great square stars. NGC39 is a galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.5. 1.1 by 1 arc minute, so that would have an average surface brightness of pretty much 13.5. It's a spiral with a lowercase c, 216 million light years distant, probably about 75,000 light years in diameter, and it's at plus 31 degrees. Ooh, I do get a vague sense of it right about there, however. NGC41 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.6, 0.8 by 0.5 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase c, 264 million light years distant, probably about 70,000 light years in diameter, maybe less. It's at plus 22 degrees. And it is a faint smudge next to that artifact on the screen right there. NGC42 is probably pretty much on the same screen as 41. It's a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.8. 1.1 by 0.6 arc minutes, lenticular spiral class O, 271 million light years distant, probably another 70,000 light year in diameter galaxy. It's at plus 22 degrees. A little further north to a galaxy in Andromeda, but we're not getting any aperture masking, NGC43. Magnitude 12.6, 1.6 by 1.5 arc minute spiral with a bar, lenticular class O, 218 million light years in distant, puts it about the size of the Milky Way. It's at plus almost 31 degrees. We're now at 13 minutes of bright ascension. And the galaxy is quite present on the screen. Probably the brightest overall galaxy of the evening, but not in very good sky position. It's NGC45, a galaxy in Cetus. Magnitude 10.6, 7.6 by 5.4 arc minutes. It's a spiral with a bar and a lowercase d. 22 million light years distant, puts it about maybe 40,000 light years in diameter. It's at minus 23 degrees in declination. I do believe it's apparent. Well, I'm hoping it's apparent on the screen. I can't be sure of that, but this is the brightest galaxy we've got this evening. Unfortunately, sky position and large size plus a half moon probably have washed it away, at least from our point of view. You've noticed some skippage tonight. Most of them were misidentified stars that were added in the catalog. There were a couple of things further north in Cepheus, a couple of studies. What we're hopefully seeing here is NGC47, a galaxy in Cetus the Whale. It's also NGC58. Magnitude 13.8, 2.3 by 2.1 arc minutes, spiral with a bar. That'd be worth looking for. And a lowercase bc, 255 million light years distant, and the size means it's larger than the Andromeda Galaxy, probably about 180,000 light years in diameter. As far as making it out on the screen, boy, it's looking pretty faint. Sky wash, high clouds, whatever it is. It's at minus 7 degrees in declination. Okay, sadly, we are getting some roof tribe blockage of NGC48, a galaxy in Andromeda. It's at 48 degrees. What am I thinking? Anyway, I'll give you the data. Magnitude 13.6, 1.6 by 1 arc minute. Spiral with a bar in lowercase bc, 80 million light years distant. And we are at 48 degrees. We might be seeing some stars on the screen. The galaxy itself would be very difficult to pick out. So moving on, we'll go to NGC49, which could also be problematic. It's at the same location in the sky. I'll go there. Allow that. And it was a neighbor of 48, so if you noticed any jump, that would have been it. Very little jump, from what I can tell. I'll give you the information on NGC49. You can hear the medevac copter pulling out now. This is a maybe a 2 or 3 times a week occurrence here that we have a medevac copter come in. Where the hospital here in town is probably the only one within maybe 75 miles in every direction. NGC49 Galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.7, 1.1 by 1 arc-minute, spiral reticular, 214 million light years distant, and plus 48 degrees. That is pushing it. Usually 45 is about the max. It depends on what time of the evening it's usually in the sky. Won't be Carpe Noctem. Let's have a look at the Triangle Galaxy on our way down. Okay, this is Messier 33. I'm giving it a chance to form on the screen. It's a great Triangle Galaxy. It's about 3 million light years distant. I can get you some data on it since I rarely do that. However, the thing to be aware of about this galaxy, it's a little further out than the Andromeda Galaxy. It's also called the Triangular Galaxy. Now this is interesting because it's a galaxy, magnitude 5.7, but its light is spread out 68 by 41 arc minutes, and all we're seeing here, and that's not a bad look for a moon, is maybe 22 by 15 arc minutes of it, because it's kind of spreading out diagonally across the screen. That is actually a pretty decent look at Messier 33. We started off the evening with Messier 110. It gave a decent view too. So frankly, despite the fact that we have a half moon, we actually got some pretty representative views of all the NGC galaxies that we viewed this evening. So I'm not going to discount it. I believe earlier in the week on day 3 of the moon, I did the NGC 100 through 149 series. I may, on the basis of the views we got tonight, do the 51 through 99 series tomorrow night, simply because it would be nice to have them completed before the lunacy takes over for sure and completely for another week or so. Meanwhile, the Sky Dark will be occurring sooner than later as we approach December 21st or so, the winter solstice. And I may review some of these just to get an idea of how they would have appeared had they been seen during the dark of the lunar cycle. But frankly, I cannot complain about that view of Messier 33. We started with 110, ended with 33.